Hey, how are you, Anne?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I got a little head start on you.
Yeah, I figured it's okay.
I was just sitting downstairs and I was like, you know what? I'll just jump on now um, and see what's happening. I'm just trying to see how I get the. Oh, there you go. There you go. I just want to make sure I'm not missing any comments. Um, oh, I just did the Baymax voice. I just did a post for Baymax. Hello,
I did see
I am
that.
Baymax.
I love it. I love it.
I would I'd no, obviously I'd like to do a character like that that's just you know that lovable AI droid kind of thing, but yeah, he's just got a very nice voice placement, the actor who does that. It's very I can see why they chose him, because it's just a really nice calming uh sentient voice.
It is. It's calming. I think that was the point, the goal, because Baymax is supposed to calm you down, it's supposed to relax you, maybe even to sleep. It's a good voice.
Yes, yes, yeah. I was alerted to you, was it? Medical attention when you said, ow.
I love that
Cute.
movie. How have you
Yes.
been?
Pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. Can't believe it's March tomorrow.
It is. It
Like
is. We're way
like
past the
everyone
month
else.
where we're past the month where supposedly TikTok was being banned, and now we're back.
Yes, we're back with a vengeance. Back with a vengeance.
Did
Um,
you do anything special for Valentine's Day?
we were away. We got a little RV and we went away to Yuma. So we was out in the desert, um, and it's a really interesting landscape out in Yuma. They literally, I think it's the only place in America where they actually have sand dunes, natural
Oh,
sand dunes. So they've done a lot of filming out there, because basically you could be anywhere, in the middle of the Sahara Desert. It's pretty incredible. So yeah, we just went out there and got away from everything, which was quite nice. Yeah.
okay, good, good. I'm glad. Sometimes it's good to have a little vacation and visit some places. I've never been there, so maybe I'll visit one day.
Yes. I highly recommend it. We're trying to go to as many places in California, since we live in LA. It's we're a 2 or 3 hour drive from a lot of really nice destinations.
Any more worries about wildfires or anything like that? Everything calmed down?
Everything's very much calmed down. Yeah. Unfortunately, we
Good.
got so much water and rain here that, because of the fire damage, a lot of stuff was swept away because there wasn't the foliage, the infrastructure on the mountains and stuff. So that created a lot of problems. Not for us personally. We're in the valley, so we were in a safe area. But poor old Malibu and places like that
Oh.
got really slammed. Yeah, they're in a real mess. So, yeah, not ideal. God, by a long shot, terrible. And it's going to take a decade or more to rebuild.
It is. Fire is really, really damaging, and I'm glad you're okay. But it's really unfortunate and scary watching all those people in lifetime have everything they knew destroyed. So I'm glad you're
Yeah,
okay. I'm glad everyone's
yeah,
rebuilding. Everyone's come together. So that's good.
yeah. I just got an interesting question here from Jam Bucket. How do you know your limitations as a voice actor? Your lane, I think you called it. Yeah, it's a really good question. Um, Obviously, my lane. It's more about your your natural vocal placement. There's another voice actor, a good friend of mine called David Sobolov, has the most deep baritone voice ever. Right, so he plays a lot of villains because of that voice. It's great. He probably wouldn't try to play a young knight, or a young elven prince, because his voice is just too deep. But he can do a lot of other dialects and things like that. And so, knowing your limitations, you want to expand your vocal range. But I know that there are certain voices that I just can't get that deep. I can't. no matter what I do, I can't get that deep. Equally, I know I can't get that high, and that's why a lot of female voice actors play young boys, as in Ben 10 and Tara Strong, because they have that high placement. They can play much younger characters, male or female. So knowing your limitations is a good thing, because you can then put your efforts and focus on the voices and characters and accents that you can do. And I think it's just good knowing that moving forward, because you have got to market yourself, and you don't ever want to be in a situation where you're like Venom. He's like this big Eddie. I want to go. He's down there, but I couldn't sustain that voice for very long, a sentence or two, and so I would put myself in a really bad situation if I went into a VO studio saying, "Oh yeah, let's do 2 hours of Venom." No way, no way. So that's where you've got to know your limitations.
That kind of brings me into the question. I did have a question for you today. Was we never really talked about how you personally and just in general the knowledge of voice actors. How do you physically practice and prepare yourself for just any kind of voice, whether it's right before you're going into the studio or maybe you're just having off days, so you're practicing at home? What do you do?
I mean, I just, it's just having a bit of fun with it. I've, for a very, very long time, since I was at school, I've always done impressions and things. So I've always been experimenting with my voice. I also have a good ear when I hear an interesting voice. And the first thing I'll do is I'll study the person and what they're doing. And I saw a guy the other day, and he just had a very tight bottom lip. And so that he would speak like this. Now I'm just trying to speak normally, but I sound very different now because I've got very tight bottom lip. And even just that changes your voice. I remember when I first looked at Sean Connery, and I noticed that if you look at Sean, his lip goes down here, and his voice is at the back of his throat. So he does a lot of this. You look at his mouth and what his mouth is doing. So I just am very aware of when I hear an interesting voice, I kind of study it a little bit like that and just think, oh, where's that coming from? I mean, you can even if you just do this, now you've got a completely different nasally voice, which some people do have. Some people have a very nasally voice, so just those little things. But it's really just more about just experimenting and having fun with it. And again, finding a voice that you could sit comfortably in if you were to do an extended recording, period. But yeah, that's kind of like the preparation. And when a job comes in or an audition, I'll just read it through and I'll look at the breakdown, and you kind of do what makes sense to you, because they kind of have an idea of what they're looking for. But if you bring something to the table perhaps they weren't thinking of, sometimes that gets you the job. But you can't think too much about it, because you'll get so lost in the voice, that your performance won't be there. And really, ultimately, it is about the performance. It's very much about the performance, and then finding that right voice. But don't get too lost in it. Don't take too much time over it.
Don't overthink it in anything you do, honestly. But yeah, that makes sense. Are there any
Yeah.
kind of things that you like, food, for example? Are there things that you avoid before you practice, or things that you do eat or do to affect?
Yeah.
Like, I know an actress who purposely did not take her allergy medication because her character had nasally voice, and so she purposely gave herself allergies to get the effect. Do you do anything like
Wow.
that?
Wow. No, I would probably just do that. I just do something in the studio, because remember, they can't see us, so we can basically do anything. Food wise, I, if we're sick, we don't work and we don't get paid, and voices don't get made. So for me, my health and diet is very, very important to me. I drink pretty much solely water. The only other drink I have is probably coffee. But I just drink loads and loads of water, keep really well hydrated. And I eat very clean. I don't eat sweets and junk food. I eat meat, dairy, clean, grass-fed, all that sort of stuff. And I eat very, very basic, because as much as it's important for me to have a good voice, it's also just as important to stay healthy. Nothing worse than getting sick when you're a self-employed actor. Voice actor costs money, costs huge amounts of money. And I know people will go, oh my God, it's okay, your health comes first. But you're like, damn, we had him booked today, and now we've got to do this, and now we've got to, so we all do get sick. But if you can, minimize that, it's a huge plus, because ultimately in this industry, as forgiving as people are, it is still costing money when, you can't turn up to do the job, and frustrating for you, of course. So, yeah. Somebody just said, I'm a big fan of Hogwarts Legacy. Thank you. Can I give you over 2,000 likes? Dominic, fire away if you can. I don't know how you do that.
I have someone here who asked if you'd be coming back to voice the second game. I know you say you'd like to. If you,
Yeah, I'll be
if
back.
it,
I'll be back. Yeah, I'll be back in a heartbeat. For sure. I just voiced the trailer for the modding update with Hogwarts Legacy for PC. I hope they bring it to console. It would be really great.
they want that. Yeah, they want that.
Yeah, it would be really good. I don't know how that's possible. I'm not that tech savvy, but I know if you're on PC, it's been very well received, because it just makes it more fun, and it makes you want to play the game again, and ride around on a Hoover or something instead of a broom.
I did see that. I have not updated my game yet because I'm too scared. I know there's a lot of still lagging and glitching that I've heard of, and also if I film, I have my own mods that won't work with the new game. So right now I'm still at the old game, but mods definitely bring people back, and it brings the imagination back, and they can make their whole world again, because there's only so
Yeah.
much you could do with the first game, and we're still waiting on updates on the second. We'd love to obviously hear you again, but I know every now and then you pop into people's lives when they're playing. Have you been able to do that recently and say hi to people as they're gaming live?
Not so much recently. I haven't done that. I still keep an eye on my feed and stuff. So you never know. You never know if you're live streaming Hogwarts Legacy. I might pop in and say hello, especially if it's one of my scenes or something. That's really funny. I'll often hear me in the background as a dark wizard going, "Oi!" Doing some NPC voices. Somebody just wrote here, are you the guy who narrated the ITV logo? Yes, that was me, Granada. That's interesting that your name's Grenada or Granada, because ITV used to be one of the regions in England to be Granada Television. So that's interesting. But yes, that was one of my very first jobs, was doing live television announcements to the UK with ITV2 and ITV1. And it was really my first introduction to voiceover and to learning to use a mic and writing little short introductions. It was all very formal and very British, Oh, very good evening to you. It was all very polite. Stay with us here on ITV1 after the break. It's Anton Dex, Saturday night takeaway, all that sort of stuff. But it was really good. It was, as I say, it's just another, string to your bow, feather to your cap, that you can do that stuff. And I would encourage people to have a good rounded career in voice acting. Voice acting is one side. I wouldn't ever ignore doing commercials, doing live events, doing narration, audiobooks, all of that of the above, because it all helps you to basically, sustain a living and, stay in this business.
I actually never thought about you doing live events because you're
Yeah.
always behind the camera. So do you do that rather often? You go to an event, you're like a narrator or a host, or what do you do?
I did in the UK quite a bit. I did a lot of award shows, which was good. I hosted actually on stage. I hosted award shows. I even got to host at the Royal Albert Hall a couple of times. That was a beautiful venue. That 5,000 people in there. Big. I think it's the UK's most prestigious live events arena. Yeah, so it's all good practice, and the live stuff especially, because you really have got to stay on your game, especially voiceover. If you stumble in a voiceover, it's really obvious. If you're on stage and you stumble, it's just like, oh, it's just this guy, and that's okay, and you're like, oops, sorry, and but when you're doing it on a voiceover, it's just awful. You just can't. So it is a whole different level of nerves and and another skill set. But that's what gets you prepped for doing all of these jobs and not getting. I spoke about this with somebody last week about nerves and do you still get nervous? And I don't get nervous. I get excited now. I'm just excited to go in. Nerves really play a big part in preparation. If you haven't done the prep, then your nerves, it'll match up to how much prep you've done and how nervous you are. And then sometimes people, even doing a lot of prep, still get really, really nervous. And it's more like once you get out there and you're doing it, those nerves should go away. But one little trick I always used, and this was whether I was doing stand-up comedy, live events, or voiceover, whenever you get to the venue, go out on the stage as soon as you can. Before the auditorium or anything fills up, go onto the stage. Don't let it be the first time you go out on stage is when you're actually going to perform. And the reason is that because when you do go out, you're already comfortable. You already know the lay of the room. You know where the people are. You know probably where little trip hazards are. So you're comfortable. And the same applies for voice acting. I always arrive early. I never arrive on time. I always arrive early. That's my motto. And that will allow me enough time to go into the studio, get settled. And as soon as I'm in there, if I'm given lines, if I'm given the script, I'll just start reading what I'm supposed to be doing. Or if it's already up on the screen, a lot of studios now use big television screens in there, flat screens. So they'll have all the stuff up there. If whatever is up there, start reading it. I did this yesterday. I just went in and I got comfortable and I just started reading the line, and it wasn't my line, but it doesn't matter, it just got me comfortable. The mics are always a little different setup. And it helps the engineer because they can do all their levels and things while you're talking. They don't need to ask you for levels. So that's just a really good thing that I do. Never arrive on time, arrive early, get in there, and get doing what you need to do as soon as possible. And then when everyone's in and the director joins and the producer's here and the writers turn up, you're already off. You're already, yep, let's do this. Let's go. Not, oh my God, I'm not talking yet. Nobody's said I should talk. They don't care. Talk, go, just do what you want. Do a warm up, whatever you like. I think you could do got a Alejandro, I think you could do a good Captain Price in Call of Duty. There's a fine line between right and wrong. That guy,
Perfect.
yeah, I like him.
We need more Call of Duty. We need Otter back.
I know we need Otter back. There's been a big campaign to get Otter back, but they're not listening, folks. They're not listening. They're not. I'd
Did
love to
the
do a special
did the
mission with
character
Otter.
die? I know some characters die in Call of Duty.
No, he
Did
didn't.
Otter die?
He
He did. Okay,
survived.
he's alive. He needs to come
Yes,
back. He needs to come back.
he jumped out the back of a AC-130 a few times, but he survived.
Of
Yeah,
course, when you jump off one time, the rest of it's easy. Right?
yes, exactly. Dreaming says, "Are you working on Hogwarts Legacy 2? Can you say?" Uh, no and no. But I will gladly, I would definitely gladly take that call, for sure. I just, I hope with all the new technology that they'll just be able to make games quicker, just as good, if not better, but quicker. That's I think definitely something with AI, because I've been experimenting with AI. I don't know if you saw my post. I did. I was curious to see if Pixar made the Hogwarts Legacy or the Hogwarts Legacy game a feature film, what the characters would look like. So I let AI do its clever thing, and then I used another program to animate them. It was a bit hit and miss. Some of the AI animation is a bit like, what are you doing? But I got some good results in the end. If you're curious, it's 3 or 4 posts back. I had a lot of
I
fun making it.
did. I
Yeah.
did see it. It was really cool. AI, like you said, it's really hit and miss. So a
Hmm.
lot of people are really worried about, AI stealing jobs or taking things. But if you really pay attention, there's only so much AI can do. And it's also
Yes.
good for
Yeah.
creativity. So doing fun videos like yours or making dumb videos like mine, AI can be really useful if you're really careful.
Yes. Absolutely. Private SM says, "Stay frosty, soldier." I got your 6, man. I got your 6. Um, yeah. I think people are going to be working with it, especially in our industry. I think it's going to only help and speed up production. Um, and from what I've seen, yes, it is a bit hit and miss right now, especially the image to video. Uh, you know, Sometimes they'll get it right and sometimes not. Now, of course, it's insane. I actually took some black and white pictures that my mum had when she was 16. My mum's 85 now. So she had some pictures when she was 16, and I've animated them in AI, and it's just insane. She can't believe it. So it's incredible technology. We're asking a lot of it because of what we're used to, but when it gets it right, oh my gosh, it's just phenomenal, what it can do. So, I mean, for example, that one that I did with Peeves, and I had the kids at the bottom. So I just said, create an image of Peeves based on Hogwarts Legacy, have him, floating down a Hogwarts corridor with kids at the bottom screaming, and it came up brilliant. And then when I put that into the video generator, I just said, make the kids run away screaming. And it did just a brilliant job. I mean, fully animated these kids so that they screamed, turned around, and ran up the corridor. I mean, pretty impressive.
It
Um,
is. It is. What did you use? Did you use ChatGPT or what are you using to play
oh
around?
gosh, I've got a bunch. I use Halua, I think.
How? Okay.
Halua, Halua AI. I use Upscale to upscale all the images. I use Poe. I've got GPT. I'm looking at Midjourney and Runway.
Oh, Midjourney is a huge one. When before
Yeah,
you and I even started talking, Midjourney in the fandom for Hogwarts Legacy was huge because it did so
yeah,
well. When you describe, oh, Victor Rookwood, Sebastian Sallow, Ominous God, they made these beautiful photos, and they have their own Discord server. So if you ever
wow,
join
yes,
Discord, there's actually a
yeah,
specific server that they can assist you because the moderators there can actually guide you through Midjourney if you have any issues. So something to think
wow,
about
that's
if you
good.
join it. But Midjourney
Yeah,
is great. ChatGPT is great. It's hard to find good software that's free. A lot of people have to pay for the really good
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
And the trouble is, I've subscribed to a couple now. I do think they need to let you have a little play with it first, a bit more.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
Midjourney and Runway, you've just got to sign up and hope they're really good. So I feel they need to give you a proper demonstration first and let you have a play, even if it was like you got a day for free so that you could play around with it to see its full capability. I think they get way more subscribers that way than people going, yeah, but I don't even know if it's going to be as good as they say it is.
Yeah.
Um, Interesting comment here from Jam Bucket. He says, hang on, I do marketing and AI has completely changed product descriptions, but won't ever replace jobs. Yeah,
Hmm.
I think it's just
That's
it's
right.
just going to make things more affordable, accessible, and a good creative person is gonna, you know, be even a better creative person because now you've got this brilliant assistant next to you who's sparking even more of your imagination and opening uh, doors that you probably wouldn't have thought of or took days to think of. That's what's so impressive is just how fast it is.
Hmm.
Yeah. He adds here, in fact, most companies are against using it for blogs and social media because it's not as good. Yeah, I mean, I think, it's a fair comment. I think you're just going to find how and if it works for you in your business, you know. And I think for me, it could save a hell of a lot of time and it will enable me at home here in my studio to do stuff, animations and things that I simply just couldn't have done before. So I'm really hoping that the image to video and the storyboarding really excels because I'd love to do a lot more of my own animations and stuff from home. Um,
Yeah, AI opens up a lot of possibilities for people like you and me, even artists themselves. They use it as a guide. Some writers use them as a guide too. People are
yeah.
always worried about it taking over and people, taking advantage of AI. But just like that comment said in marketing, AI is just not as good as people, as you and me. Like voice actors, they're like you can't replace with AI because the voice actor can change the tone or do what you're asking for, and then artists can draw an image you have in your head that AI cannot recreate because you can't adjust that while they're doing it. AI just generates it. Same thing for anything else. AI in general, some people do take advantage and there are some issues that people can worry about, but if you really pay attention and you kind of guide yourself and guide others, AI can open up a lot of possibilities for not just fandoms but in general in the world.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think this technology is moving so quick. It's you know becoming self-aware, but it's learning very quickly. So I think generally though people want to work with people. That's the bottom line. No matter what you're doing, yeah, you'll want a certain amount with AI and stuff, but you still want that gratification of working with good, talented people. Otherwise, we're all just going to be in little rooms locked away. You know, very sad. We need that human connection. Um, and I don't think that's AI certainly isn't going to replace that. So yeah, I'm very optimistic and excited for the future. I think it's going to create a lot more opportunities for smaller companies to make bigger and better animations, video games and stuff, it's really going to open the market up a lot, which is good for us. They'll need more voice actors, and you guys will get more content and more fun stuff. And I think it's great. Alejandra says, I've learned so much from it. You get a straightforward answer, but it can mess up though. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've just started to treat it like an assistant. Like, hey, what was and I'll just ask random questions, or ask it to, Google. Like the other day I said, how old was the actor Leslie Phillips who played the Sorting Hat? And it went, and he said, oh, he was 87 or something. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm just treating it like a, proper virtual assistant. And then I needed a logo for something, and I said, oh, design me a logo for so-and-so and so-and-so. Boom, So it's really cool. It's really good.
It is cool. It is cool. And you do a lot. I think, well, I had one question. I can't remember that one. But my other question was, did you ever feel threatened by AI? Some people feel like people in your job would lose their jobs. I don't see that happening. But personally, with playing with AI, being in the fandom and watching technology grow so quickly, how do you feel about it towards you as a person?
I was a lot more frightened of it when it was first, maybe a year or so ago, maybe even 2 years, when we wasn't quite sure what it was going to look like or how it was going to integrate into the business. I think knowing creative people, there's an element of spontaneity in making things. Some of the best parts in movies are an actor ad-libbing, or a happy accident happening, and it's so organic and so natural. And I think AI could probably never take that away. Those human instincts, those things. AI is going to always be looking for perfection, and so that's what reassures me, that yes, we will use it. Yes, it'll be very much integrated into everything that we do, but the human element will remain. I know when I go into a commercial audition or session, even though we have a fraction of the lines, maybe sometimes even one line, you can be in there so long because they want to experiment with the line. They want to try this thing and they want to try that thing. And, that's definitely going to be quicker with a voice actor. And then you've got the voice actor who can do a little bit of improv, or comes up with some little, subtle nuance or something with the words. And they're like, that's it. But it's not something you can type away and put into AI. So I've still noticed a lot of, big advertising companies definitely are not going to be switching over to AI voices. No.
Did you ever see the very controversial Coca-Cola commercial that was made completely out of AI? They really shot.
I think I've heard of it though.
They probably took it down. Excuse me. I can't remember how long it was. It was recent, but they really shot themselves in the foot. They basically made an entire commercial just out of AI, but you can see it. But a lot of people did not like that. And then Pepsi, their competitor, they said, "Oh, we're gonna pay people to actually animate a commercial," and they advertised it. So it was kind of like a little war going on. But I mean, yeah, they tried to pull a fast one, and most people can recognize an AI, especially AI generated. There was a lot of movement going on. So like you said, there's only so much AI can do. Like people in general are what you're gonna need.
Yeah, you can really overdo it with technology, and just because it's there doesn't mean you have to use it all.
Exactly.
I think if you've got a product, for product photography and product videos, for now, I think you can use it. But certainly for where I want it to head with animation, and lip syncing characters, you can do it, but my gosh, it's a bit like the 3D printing machines. There's an awful lot of waste. Like, I think that's getting better now, but I know when 3D printing started, the amount of mess ups the machines would make. So there was a lot of waste that you couldn't use, and that's what I'm finding with AI. There's a lot of generating video and images, and you think I'm not going to use that. That's awful. That's just ridiculous, So you're just fingers crossed waiting that it gets everything right. And so that's what I'm waiting for, is for those inconsistencies to be minimalized, if not eradicated, so that you can use build a character, and then just use that character in everything. And I've tried a few softwares now, and they keep changing the character a little bit in the next one, and changing the shoe color or the eye color. So we're a ways off yet, but I want to get used to using it now, because it's definitely here to stay.
It is, and I see, like you said, it's getting better, and people are starting to learn how to use it. And I really don't see it as a malicious thing. I know maybe down the road, way past after you and I possibly pass away, that maybe a kind of a Terminator-esque future may happen if we let machines get too advanced. But right now, I feel like we have a hold of trying to figure things out and trying to see how it could help us, and how we could not really take advantage, but kind of help us with not just AI, regular technology, how everything's advancing so much. And I think it was Microsoft even found a different kind of matter. There are so many things happening right now that it's just all over the way. It's chaotic. I don't even know.
I don't know how a company in the computing business happens upon a new matter.
I know.
Like, what?
It's really crazy.
Guys, what were you developing down there? Like, holy smokes! All I need is my Excel spreadsheet to work better. Like, why are you coming up with new matter? Like, that is just. I was just like, what? What are you guys doing? Oh
can
my
we focus?
God.
Yeah, can we focus on the big stuff? Can we pay our bills? I don't need a new matter. I need things to be cheaper.
Yeah. So I don't know where they're going to put that in, or what that's going to be used for, but God help us. Jam Bucket adds, I think AI will become a part of our lives, but the price will then rise to 200. Yeah, 200 a month. I know these subscriptions, it's just like the streaming services. We all thought, what a bargain. Netflix is a bargain. And then it's slowly crept up. And then it's like, oh yeah, but now you need to pay, for the one without ads. And now you're like, oh my God, so they've all crept up in price. And I think you're right. I think the same we'll become so reliant on AI that, we'll be paying these silly prices. However, I will say this, when you look at the workflow that it can take and the results it can give, it's still going to be saving you so much money. Like, so much money. I looked at Runway, and if I paid their top thing, which was about $1,100 for the year, if it was their technology wise, you could make an entire animation feature, certainly 5-10 minute episodes. Each one of those would have cost you tens of thousands in an animation company, let alone the thousands of decisions and people that would be working for you. So it is still going to be a lot cheaper in the long run to do what you want it to do.
Yeah, it definitely, you have to work on it. There's a lot of practice, and technology is always rapidly evolving, but it's evolving when people put the time and the money and the energy in it. And the people, like, at the end, technology is great, but if there's no people to work on it, then there's no technology. So it's kind of a circle of life, in a sense. You just never know how far something will go until people make the attempt. At the same time, though, you just, like you said earlier, just because we can doesn't mean we should. So there should be a limit to some things, but hopefully AI is pretty well good in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Joy Razbula just writes, "Good morning. Where are you, Joy? That it's good morning. We're in Los Angeles, so it's evening here, 6:34 Pacific time. So I'd love to know where you're calling from or calling in from. I can't see.
You have fans all over you got people in Germany. I think you have everyone all over the globe. Like I know you don't. I know personally you don't consider yourself as a big celebrity voice actor, but people know your name and they love you all over
Really?
the globe.
Ah, that's so nice. Well, uh, I think when I get asked a lot about I want to do voice acting and everything else. I think it's just really important just to find something you love and something you enjoy doing, and that for me being a Gemini sustains my interest. It's a double-edged sword because I love change, but I equally hate change. So this industry is full of that, especially now. But I think it's just important to find something you love and enjoy, and I've found that in voice acting, it just really suits me. I think I would never rule out doing on camera acting either. I really love doing motion capture, and it's so funny because that is on camera acting, but it's its own thing. Motion capture, it's its own set. I think you've got motion capture, acting, voice acting, and then on screen acting. A lot of people might beg to differ, but when you're in a room full of very crude structures and cameras all the way around, I think there's hundreds of cameras in a motion capture void, they call it. And you've got a camera right here in front of your face, and you're in a suit with all speckly reflective spheres all over it and stuff. It's about as unnatural as it could be for acting. So that's why I say it's its own separate thing too, because you're suiting up, you look like you're going to go diving, and you're getting all this headset on and your camera here and your voice piece here, and but I really do love that. So I think for the right role, I would like to do some on-camera stuff. If anyone
That
thinks
would be
my
cool. We'd love to see you. We know in the past you mentioned you were a background character once or twice, and I think you posted clips about that on TikTok as
I
well.
did. That's how I first started. I was 25, 26, and just started doing background work in movies in the UK, and it was so much fun. I mean, it really was. It was. I really look back on those days very fondly, and I got to work on some great, Shakespeare in Love with Gwyneth Paltrow and Ben Affleck, and Dame Judi Dench as Queen Elizabeth, and we were all decked up in our Tudor costumes and prancing around these, $1 million sets. And then I got to be playing opposite Nicole Kidman in a scene as a security guard, and it was just it was really, really good times. I did quite a few TV shows as a soldier and stuff like that. So yeah, but it was really just a really good way. I often say this to people. It's just a very good way of getting into that line of business, but seeing how it all works, seeing what's really going on. The only reason I wasn't super attracted to film was there was so much waiting around. Abby says that's so cool. Thanks, Abby. Mike says, "Hey Jason, I'm still using your voicemail you made me. People love it." Which one did I do for you, Mike? That's great. I love that. Thank you, mate. It's such a really, really good way to see how things, how a movie set works. But for me, I was just like, my God, there's just so much waiting around. The actors were almost the last thought, because the director of photography's there and he's trying to get the shot, and then you got the scene dressers, set decorators, and lighting, and everyone's trying to get this right thing. And we don't care about the actors. Go, you guys, go over there. Go over there. We want the right amount of smoke in, and is that tree drooping a bit too much? And what about this? And then you'd get your stand-ins come in, and they'd mark out where the actors are going to stand, and they tape the floor down. That's what's so interesting. You think every actor's kind of, when they say hitting your mark, they've actually got blue tape on the floor in a, Elizabethan theatre, and they've got blue tape out of camera shot, of course, and that's where they've got to hit their mark. And the reason you got to hit your mark is because you've got a focus puller on the cameras. Now, I don't know if that's still, I know a lot of people still use those old cameras, but that's what it used to be. There was nothing automatic. You would have a focus puller, and so they'd work out their shot, and as they moved around, the focus puller would pull it into focus, and if that actor wasn't on the spot that they'd focus to, he'd be out of focus, or she'd be out of focus. So there was a very technical side of acting that you won't learn in any acting class. You have to be on a set to know that sort of stuff and to appreciate what everyone's job is there. And how a film set works is it's one person, one job. Everyone has one job. That's their job. There's no doubling up, especially on the big features. Everyone has their job, and that's what they do. When it works and it all comes together, it's like a beautiful orchestra, and you get great results.
Well, that's why movies are so expensive, and they're like millions and billions of dollars, because there's so many people. They're like you said, each one has their own job, and that's how you know it's a bigger movie, where everyone has one job that they can focus on. When it's a smaller movie or lower budget, everyone has multiple jobs and everyone has to focus, which makes it harder. But yeah, there's a lot of moving and a lot of science behind it. I went to school for digital photography, not filmmaking, but even then, some of the aspects, it kind of all goes together, and if one thing goes wrong, then all of it goes wrong. It's like a domino effect. So it's a big thing, and I don't think people really think about that when they watch a movie, but it's interesting to know about it. And then you, as a voice actor, you're mostly behind the scenes, but you've experienced it firsthand, so you know best of both worlds.
Jan Bucket says he's got a good question here. He said, are extras given seats during downtime, or do only the stars get the seats? Only the stars get those special seats. They normally get to take them away after production because production doesn't want them. And they've often got their name and the production embroidered in the back. So it's a nice little keepsake. But no, that's only for principal actors. So even if you're a day guest, you probably won't get a seat. So that's all just really for principal performers. You will probably, if you come in as a guest star and you're there for the day, you probably would get a trailer, possibly. It all depends. But extras, no, we get normally a bus, a double-decker bus, and we're shipped onto set, and you do your thing. But the actors and the extras, they are the last people on the set. So that's why there's so much waiting around. They have to do all this stuff first and figure it all out, and then the actors come in at the very last point, and when they're ready to actually roll. And that's why sometimes you can be waiting around a whole day if they can't get their shot right, if they can't get the special effect to work. Once you start bringing in stunts and vehicles and horses, oh my God. I'm telling you, horses, gosh. I mean, and you get trained animals, for film, of course, and horses the same. But if they want to go to the loo, they'll go to the loo right in the middle of your shot, and it doesn't matter. I've seen it.
When you're waiting around like that, are you still paid, or are you paid by the hour?
I mean, you get yes. I mean, it's not great money, but I didn't look at it as, I wasn't there for the financial gain. I was there for the knowledge, and I was there for the experience. I wanted to see this up close, personal. I wanted to see how everything works. I wanted to look behind the sets. I wanted to, really watch and observe and absorb. But no, you get paid all day. If you've got a 5-6 a.m. call time, because if like for Shakespeare in Love, they had at one point like 200 extras, and we all had to get dressed in a giant marquee, and we're all putting on pantaloons and everything, and Tudor Edwardian boots and waistcoats and things, and the women are putting the corsets on and all that paraphernalia and headgear and stuff. So it took a long time, and then once you're ready, you could be sitting around in costume all day, which is a little uncomfortable. But you get fed. It's great. I mean, you get fed. You get told where to go, and if you're smart, you'll just take it all in, and you won't try and stand out from the crowd. You'll just do your job and learn and just be around. I mean, we were around Joe Fiennes. We were around Ben Affleck. We were around all of the Matt Williams, all the incredible British actors and actresses. Judi Dench. I remember we were waiting outside of a soundstage, and Judi Dench turns up in full costume as Queen Elizabeth. It was like, and she was so good, and we all went, "Oh, Your Majesty," and she's like, "Oh," she was like, "Stop it," but she was great. They're, for the most part, they're really good fun. I do remember a bit of gossip. So at that time, Ben Affleck and I didn't just mention her name. Gwyneth Paltrow.
Okay.
Ben Affleck and Gwyneth Paltrow were dating. So it was at the early dawn of texting, because this film's like 2002, I think, 2003, something like that, maybe even earlier, I'm not sure. But it was the early dawn of texting. Oh, and these two, they would not stop texting each other, because even though they're in the film together, they're in very different scenes sometimes. And so Ben Affleck would always just be sitting there texting. And I remember doing a scene in a church in London, and Gwyneth Paltrow was in this scene, and I was sat almost right opposite her. And right up to, "Okay, guys, are we ready? Everyone in positions?" She's texting. She's got a phone in Middle England, like, in the, what was it, 16th, mid 16th, 17th century. And she's got this phone, and she just stuffed it under her thing because she knew she was sitting down for the scene. And she just stuffed it under. It's like, oh my God, if people knew. It was
The
people knew.
secrets, the secrets. I know you didn't go into many films, but from your memories now, do you have a favorite that you were, an extra for?
That probably because I did a lot of TV shows as policeman. I think just for star power, I think Shakespeare in Love. For star power star power and movie sets, it was unbelievable. Like the sets they built for that, they recreated the Rose Theatre in its entirety, like the Round Rose Theatre, entire streets and that of London, and it was just incredible. Like, so I think for that, that immersive movie experience and star power, there were just stars everywhere. I mean, everyone in that was a big name. So I think that one. I tell you what was really good fun. I was also in a movie. It was Mark Antony and Cleopatra. I forget if it was actually called Mark Antony, but Billy Zane was in it. You remember Billy Zane?
I
Do you know
think so.
Billy
It's all
Zane?
familiar. I got look
Yeah,
at a face, but
he was the handsome lead in the Titanic.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
He was a big name in around after the Titanic and stuff. And I was a was I a Roman soldier? Yeah, I would have been a Roman soldier. And we were on this ship that they built in this soundstage. That was really cool because we got a lot of fake blood. We were fighting. It was a bit brutal though because a lot of the weaponry it looked good, but it wasn't terribly refined inside.
Oh
So there
no.
was a lot of rough fiberglass and stuff. We all came out with
Oh.
so many scrapes and bruises, and some people are a little bit heavy-handed with their swords. Bang, and you'd come back and you'd like flipping out. Look, I'm covered in bruises, and blood. We had all this fake blood, which was in order for it to stick to your body, it had a lot of sugar in it. It was really gross to get off. It was almost impossible to get off.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really, but it was cool. I mean, for us, it was just brilliant. Group of lads going in as Roman soldiers covered in blood. And Billy Zane was really cool. He was very, very, very good on set. He was. There was a younger actor who he was doing the scene with, and he was just so generous with him and helping him in between shots and stuff, coaching him, and he was good to us as well. Like he'd turn to us and go, "Right, guys, this is the penultimate scene. Like this is where it's all going to happen, and we need your energy, and we feed off that. So love what you're doing, and so he was really good. But that was, to be honest, sometimes filmmaking it really is like being a kid again.
It's playing make
So
believe.
yeah, yeah, they got really good at make believe. Yeah, I'd love to know because I definitely I played a few roles in that, and I got a little bit of screen time, even as an extra, because they made me a centaur guard or something, and so at one point I was guarding a princess or something, and I Cleopatra, Mark Antony. I think it was called Mark Antony, possibly.
Now I have to watch it because I don't think I've ever watched that. I have watched Shakespeare in Love, and now I have to rewatch it, and now I got to figure out what scene to find you and record
Yeah,
it. Look, it's Jason. Look.
I'm,
Oh, maybe we'll find it.
I'd actually forgotten all about that until you said. I'm going to find out because Billy Zane, I'll find out live. Let me go on to IMDb. Billy Zane.
And then a
Yeah.
side note, one of your fans here, Catherine, today's her birthday. Happy birthday,
Happy
Catherine.
birthday, Catherine. Are you doing anything fun? And are you having cake? I always think you got to have
Gotta
cake
have
on your
cake.
birthday. You know.
Always gotta have
Um,
cake.
Here we
Well,
go.
I mean,
Great.
as an adult, you don't really need a reason for cake anymore. You just, if you want it, you get it.
Yeah, I know. You can just get it now. Let's have a look. How far do we go back? Past films. Gosh, this is a long time ago. 2013. Oh my God, no. I still got to go back. 2005, 2004. The Kiss, Fladcam, Landspeed, Morgan's Ferry, Zoolander. I didn't know he was in Zoolander. Billy Zane, uncredited.
Oh,
Zoolander. Wow.
what did he do in
Um,
Zoolander? Maybe he was one of the extra models. I could see that.
yeah, maybe. Let's have a look. And I woke up. Susan's Plan, Price, or Anything to Believer, CQ, Zoolander, Morgan, Claim. It wouldn't have been anything after 2003. Maybe then it was TV and not film.
Oh,
Um,
like a show? Like you're in a
yeah,
season or two?
yeah. Uh, oh, I've got to go way down here. 2004, Overnight, Young Hollywood, Breaking the Silence, Rosie O'Donnell Show. Uh, so Graham Norton. Graham Norton's been on TV since 1999. Good God, that's a long-running chat show. Um,
Oh, that reminds me. Did you see the new official Dumbledore for the new Harry Potter show?
yeah. Lithgow, right?
Yeah, he's a great actor. I think that he commented basically this might be his last role until retirement, which makes sense. He's getting up there and he's been in
Yeah.
so many things. It's time for him to retire, to
Well,
relax with all. Yeah,
yeah, it's really tricky because I think Richard Harris, who played Dumbledore in the first two movies, I mean, he was in his 80s when he started, you know, and then of course he was replaced by oh, can't think of the actor now, um, who's also recently passed away. So that's my only concern is I'm a little surprised that they, as good as he is and as great as he is, you know, I'm let's just hope he does live a long and wonderful life. But somebody who's already 80, who's potentially going to be what 90, because this is a 10-year project.
right.
And Dumbledore, as we know, is in it all the way to the end almost. Michael Gambon, thank you, Jam. Michael Gambon, who took over from Richard Harris. So that was my only concern was, oh, wow, I hope we're not in that situation again.
Oh
Where,
yeah, that'd be sad.
yeah,
More
I
trauma for
know,
the fan.
especially with that character, I'm sure he'll be brilliant at it. I certainly did think like, oh yeah, great. I don't think I've heard him do a British accent, but I'm sure he's going to be working on it. So yeah, I mean, I think he'll be brilliant, but just a concern knowing what's happened in the past. I can't find this movie now with Billy Zane.
We gotta find
Um,
it. It's time to search it. We'll search it in the background.
ah, Michael.
Billy
Let's
Zane.
Billy
Something.
Zane,
Billy
and
Zane
he
Sparta, like
Billy
Spartan.
Zane, and he played Mark Antony. I should know that because it's my name too. Billy
One
Zane,
of your
Mark. Oh,
names.
Cleopatra. It was called Cleopatra. There you go. It was
Oh,
a
okay.
TV series.
Oh, so you were probably in like an episode or two.
Yeah, I actually did a scene with a James Bond actor too.
Which
Um,
one?
uh, Timothy Dalton.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
What
I
did you?
was in a scene with Timothy Dalton, and he was very cool too. Yeah, and of course he had all they had all the white robes on and stuff, the Roman robes. But again, that was a really good film or TV series to work on. Cleopatra. I'm not sure how many episodes they made, um, but he did do a good job in that. Yeah, there you go, Mark Antony. I'll have to watch that now because I know when it came out, I was like, oh my god, there's me.
Now we need to watch it. We need to watch every episode and record. Like, oh, there he is. Now we need to play a egg hunt. It's Easter now, so look for Jason.
Yeah. Oh, so Mark Antony, but without an H. So mine's with an H. Mark
Ah,
Antony
okay.
without an H. Ah,
Ah.
yes. Apparently, Jam says apparently they're redoing the soundtrack from scratch. I think it's a fail. They
Oh,
can't replace it. Oh no, God! Why
really?
would they want to start the soundtrack from scratch? Can't they just do a variant of it like they've done with Star Wars?
Yeah. I
Gosh,
don't know.
you can't take John Williams out of Harry Potter.
Of course, no. Like it seems like they're trying to do a lot of more modernized things, but that's not what the fans want. So I don't know
No.
how that's going to happen. But I mean, yeah, because they still haven't announced if it's going to be like I don't know how to say it. They're trying to switch up a few things. And then I know this is great for Dumbledore, but a lot of people are worried about who they'll cast for Snape. Not just because of look, but because they want someone who will live up to the character in the book, especially since they're focused on the book now. So it's just
Yeah.
a lot of waiting and a lot of finding out. And I mean, it is what it is whenever it does happen, but everyone's
Yeah, that's
hoping
right.
they're. So maybe we'll see Mr. Jason Anthony as a background. Maybe it's his own kind
Yeah.
of own Mr. Moon.
I could do that. I could be the caretaker. Uh, yeah, I'd. you know, I would love to do anything in that. You know, um, I think it's just going to be another epic series that they'll make, and I'm sure it will be really good. You know, I think just like anything, you know, it's going to not please everyone, but I think that you know they're pretty savvy. I think they're going to know that you know they've got to stay very close to law, and you know, and they're very clearly selecting carefully the right people for the principal roles. Of course, the three kids are going to be very, very important. You know,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which
There's a
they
lot
have.
of rumors, but no real big announcements yet. So that's a big
No,
if. I'm curious because I know the characters they chose in the original series didn't quite match the description of the children in the book. So if
yeah,
they're more focused on the book now, they might be aiming towards different things than, like, for example,
yes,
Hermione with really crazy hair. They managed that in the movie, but people were expecting a lot more. There's a lot of
yeah,
imagery that people are trying to aim for.
yes, yeah. No, and it's you know it's such a rich, abundant, character-filled world. There's so many roles. I mean, there
Mhm.
literally are so many roles. So yeah, it's just I think they're starting filming in the summer, so we're not far off. You know,
We'll get there. We'll get there. And maybe, there's always going to be talking ghost poltergeist. There's always going to be a statue. So maybe we'll hear Mr. Jason in there.
ah,
You never know.
maybe. Um, yeah, that would be good. I mean, that sort of stuff's all post anyway, so they don't need to make those decisions off the bat. They might do some motion capture with Peeves and stuff. So, but that's not. I don't think that'll be necessarily principal photography. I think that's stuff they can do after the fact. Um, yeah. Did you know? They were actually going to. They had actually already cast somebody for Peeves for the movies. Did you know that?
Oh, I did not.
Yes, yeah. Rick Mail was the actor, a British comedian, very funny. Um, and if you have a Google, you'll actually hear him talking about how he was cast as Peeves for the movies. And they brought him to set because they wanted the kids to interact and have some scenes with Peeves. But he was so funny, the kids couldn't keep a straight face. So, so they said he was Rick Mail. Do you know a film called what is it? Not Right Said, Right Said Fred or Dead Fred? Oh, I can't think of the movie. Somebody will help me out. Um, Dead Fred, Right Said.
It sounds familiar. I know what you're trying to aim for, but I can't think of.
Yeah,
I probably don't know it anyway. So
it's
educate me.
yeah, it's a classic '80s film that did very well in America, and he was the main character in it, and he was this mischievous character in this movie who'd pop up and cause all sorts of chaos and mayhem. So he's kind of perfect for Peeves. Oh,
Was it called Drop Dead Fred? Is it Drop
Drop
Dead
Dead
Fred?
Fred. Drop
Okay.
Dead Fred.
It
That's
sounds,
it.
yeah, it sounds really familiar. It's
That was a good
possible that I
guess,
was
though.
young.
Fred of the Dead. drop Drop Dead Fred, because she keeps saying Drop Dead Fred. You know, but he yeah they did plan to put him in the original movies, but as I say, he got paid and everything, and he said, you know, I got paid, so I was fine. Um,
They paid my
but
bills. It's okay.
yeah, but this was, I guess, the video was shot before, you know, the film was even kind of out, so he didn't know quite what a big hit he'd missed out on, if you like. Um, but I thought that was interesting that they had originally thought to put Peeves in, but then in the end decided not to. And it probably, you know, it's probably partly to do with that, and partly to do with it was just more money. It all costs money to put in a floating poltergeist and things like this. So,
Money
you
and
know,
time,
yeah,
money,
so,
like, and they stretched the movies enough to where they had to cut off a lot of the story. So probably taking
Yeah.
out a character really helped
Yes.
them, follow production.
Yeah, because as you say, they had to trim a lot out. So equally now they've got to add a lot in, for 10 episodes per book, 8 to 10 episodes per book.
Oh yeah,
Um,
we're ready.
but
We're waiting. We want to see it.
yeah, I know. It'd be very, very exciting. Gremmy's just said, "Can you voice in my movie? What's your movie, Gremmy?" Um, yeah, so we will see. Well, it's just gone past 7 o'clock. I
Ah,
better
yes.
go and tend to our doggies. We've got a little foster dog at the moment. Um,
Oh, that's so sweet. I
yeah, we've got
considered fostering. We have a dog ourselves, but we want to maybe foster so we can, explore different other animals. Um,
yeah,
how long have you been fostering for?
a month now. And we've got a lovely family. They're just having a house visit now. I think over the weekend, just to check that the house is all good. Because of course, it's a big deal, as we all know, taking on a pet, an animal. So they want to make sure everything's good. But yeah, it's bittersweet because I bonded to him, and it's
Oh,
tough. It's really tough. I don't know if I'm a good foster. 'Cause
you're gonna have a foster fail one day. I just know it.
I know, I know. This was our first one, so we didn't want to be a foster fowl out of the gate. But you can't help but bond with them, and he's lovely. He's a puppy. He's 11 months. Um,
Oh,
and he's just full of energy. We took him to a dog park today, and he just up and down and up and down. I mean, he just ran and ran. So that was very sweet. So yes, we'll see over the weekend. What's your plans for March? Anything in?
actually, I don't think I do. February was surprisingly very busy because I celebrate Lunar New Year, so we had a lot of festivals and celebrations and lion dancing. But
Yeah,
March, I think, is rather tame, surprisingly. Which I mean, is it bad? Sometimes we just need to calm down and let things settle. So, but I
sure.
mean, I'll still talk to you next month, so that's something to plan
Yes,
for.
there you
But do
go.
you have any plans? Any big vacations or big jobs going on next month?
We've. I'm working on two games at the moment, and an anime series. So that'll probably continue next month. We plan to go away again in the RV for a little weekend here and there too. Um, and I shall just be pushing out my content with TikTok. I'm working a lot closer with TikTok directly now, which is really nice. So such lovely people there. So that's quite exciting. So I hope to do some TikTok events and things with them. We've talked about doing some gaming events and stuff with TikTok, because they've got a gaming division at TikTok.
That's
So
amazing. Put
yeah,
in a
so it's
good word for me. Tell
I
them
will.
to hit me up.
I will. I will. They're really lovely people. So yeah, so that's exciting. And then yeah, we'll just put the rest to fate and see what happens. But thanks everyone for joining the live. Thank you to
Yes.
Alejandro and Jam Bucket for all your comments and very insightful points you've made there, and really appreciate it. And thanks for helping my ever fading memory.
Well, Jason, thank you for joining us or joining me once again. I will send you a DM. We'll figure out another time for next month. You
Yeah,
seem really busy. But have a good night. Have a good
you
last
too.
night of February. Next month is a new month. Let's get it going.
Let's
Hopefully,
do
everyone's
it.
have a good one.
Let's press reset and let's go.
Yes, let's do it. Lock in, guys. It's your month. It's your year.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.